in hopes that we wouldn't say it first, but truth must be told.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. Todd Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson. Peace be
Young
unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Robot, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button right now and hit that subscribe button and that bell. We the hottest in the game. Who else is doing it? Now, we brought you here today to talk about Marcus Garvey and Walter Plecker, right? And before I get to that, let me make a couple quick announcements. We're trying to raise $300 by tomorrow, so we need some help. If you want to help us out, you can send us a donation at The Young Elder, the Cash App, or the 23 PayPal. Now, if you if you don't got the books, I got 8 books that I put out that we let go for the $45 donation to the PayPal or Cash App. What you would do is just leave your emails and the links. As soon as you send $45 over, we'll send you all 8 books in PDF form to your email address. And they're real thick books. We got the Ascension Manual. We got the Hustler's Manual. We got the Scroll of Eyes. We got the Dream Scroll, the Language of the Birds book, the Orion Group book, the Galactic Family of Life book, the Book of Extraterrestrials, right? And those are all thick books. They're going to take you probably like a couple weeks, a month to read. Depends on how fast you read, right? And we got more stuff coming. But like I said, if you want to help us out with that, we just dropped all that information for you. Now, let's get into Marcus Garvey, because we went through Marcus Garvey's story. For you people that's just not tuning in, we put the full story out. Well, pretty much a synopsis of Marcus Garvey. And we knew Marcus Garvey was working with Walter Plecker, but I didn't know. I had to figure out what was Marcus Garvey aim for working with Cox and Walter Plecker and the Ku Klux Klan in Virginia. And man, Marcus Garvey, to me, I think he had good intentions. I think Marcus Garvey had good intentions in what he was doing, but he was headed down the wrong road as far as trying to get us go to Africa. We don't need to go back to Africa. We never was in Africa. That was the first. That's the same thing. That's the same disagreement I had with the Master Farad Muhammad. We're gonna do a tape called on what I disagree with the Master Farad Muhammad. Now, I agree with most of what he said. I agree with most of what the Master Farad Muhammad said. There's only a couple things I disagree with. I agree with Marcus Garvey's movement. It's only a couple things I disagree with. We're about to get into it though, right? Yeah, like the back to Africa thing. Now, Marcus Garvey, COINTELPRO ultimately sent down Marcus Garvey. So he had to be some type of, he was helping us in some type of way. He had to be helping us doing something that they was mad about to want to shut him down and sabotage the Black Star Line, right? And pretty much set him up for mail fraud. And a whole list of, we pretty much gave a whole rundown in the tape we just put out yesterday called the Untold Story of Marcus Garvey, the Black Moses, right? Because his name is Marcus Moses Garvey, right? Now, Marcus Garvey was a Knights of Templar and a member of the York Rites. We got to put that out there. Marcus Garvey was schooled by the same dude that taught Deuce Ali. That taught Noble Drew Ali, Deuce Ali Muhammad, Deuce Muhammad Ali, right? That guy, right? And he tapped Marcus Garvey into the ancient mystic shrine. Now, why was Marcus Garvey with Walter Plecker? Now, they said that Marcus Garvey had some of the same philosophies as Walter Plecker and Cox now, meaning blacks shouldn't, so-called black people, and keep in mind we're using the word black out of context because black don't apply to a people, right? So that's the first game that they played to try to change us. Walter Plecker's game was to change us into a crayon. That's what the 1924 Integrity Act was about. It's about changing us into crayons, pretty much, and stealing our birthrights. Now I'm saying, was Marcus Garvey in with them on that, or was he in it unknowingly or knowingly, right? And I'm having to say to myself, if he was a member of the York Rites and Knights of Templar, he had some increments of what was going on. He had at least some increments. And I don't know what goes on in those temples of things, but and I don't know if they give brothers the full get down. But I know for sure he had some increments in on what was going on how we got robbed. Now, Marcus Garvey was building a big congregation, a big following. It was sort of like he was building his own military in a way. And that's really scared the government. That they don't like black militant people, black so-called blacks, right? Forming militant groups. That scare certain people, right? That scare the government. So, and they were they were marching through the community through Harlem and different things. And that's another thing I had to point out. Man, the Hebrew Israelites need to stop doing all them marches where 10,000 people march through a neighborhood. Don't you know that's putting y'all on the FBI watch list? But y'all, it's too late for that. You're already on the FBI watch list, right? But y'all go and march through the show how many people you got. You got thousands of people, 3,000-4,000 people with all these purple shirts on, marching through a neighborhood, and you scaring the government. You scaring the government, man. And I like Elijah Muhammad. I like what the Nation of Islam did. I'm gonna get into that because it ties into Marcus Garvey. Some of the things that Marcus Garvey was doing bleeds into the Nation of Islam. Also, really, pretty much, I believe the Nation of Islam is a sort of like a symbol, they took stuff that they liked it about Marcus Garvey. Really was Master Farad Muhammad that did it, right? Master Farad Muhammad took stuff that he liked that Marcus Garvey was doing as far as building a nation. Marcus Garvey had the format to build a nation, right? He was already having the boats. He was having setting businesses. Marcus Garvey was a hustler. He was selling tombstones. He was always selling something. Marcus Garvey was always creating his own jobs. He never did go really work for nobody. He always created his own jobs. So he in his mind, and another thing I might point out too, Marcus Garvey is guerrilla clan. So all this gonna play out when I tell you. And like I say, for you people that's just not tuning in, overall, to me, I think Marcus Garvey had good intentions. But Marcus Garvey was a guerrilla clan, right? So you got to keep in mind, it's guerrilla clan all over the land. So, and he came from Jamaica. He guerrilla clan that came from Jamaica, but all guerrilla clans is one clan. Don't let her fool you. It don't matter if they're from Jamaica, Africa, Asia, United States, right? The Americas. All the guerrilla clan is from the same origin. Keep that in mind. And we're gonna get into the Black guerrilla family and all that, and how that plays out, coming down from Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, all these guys, right? And the Black Panthers, all that stems down from this. We're building up to this. So the things that Marcus Garvey was doing, like setting up the boating company, the shipping company, you know, certain groups of people that like that. A Nubian owning his own boating company, and then the military intelligence got involved, and they suspect that Marcus Garvey was starting his own navy, his own black-owned navy. That really scared them, bro. They had to set him down, get rid of him quick. And the only reason they didn't kill Marcus Garvey is because of the Knights of Templar, his connection with the Knights of Templar. They gave him a pass that they just wanted to expedite him out of the country so he couldn't be participating and going against U.S. courts, their business plans, right? U.S. court business plans, meaning keep the Negroes asleep, because as long as they're asleep, we stay in power, because they are the power. As long as we keep them asleep and siphon their power, we'll stay in control, right? So, like I said, the Nation of Islam, a lot of their system is coming from Marcus Garvey. A lot of stuff that Noble Drew Ali set up is stemmed off of Marcus Garvey as far as the organization format. Marcus Garvey took some format from Noble Drew Ali, and Noble Drew Ali took some format from Noble Drew Ali. So they kind of like work together, and that's really take the government out too, with Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey working together. That really became a problem because Marcus Garvey had the manpower and Noble Drew Ali had the message, the birthrights. And that pretty much would have ended them. If they would have stayed on the same course, that would have ended them. So COINTELPRO had to get rid of that operation real quick. Also, keep in mind, the first black FBI agent named James Wormley, they used him to infiltrate Marcus Garvey. So I ain't got to beat this over your head to tell you that the COINTELPRO took down Marcus Garvey. They sent their first black FBI agent, the first informant. Actually, he wasn't an informant. He was actually an FBI agent, and they sent him in to pretty much figure out what was going on and try to pretty much come up with a plan to shut Marcus Garvey down. And they came out with setting him up for mail fraud, which it was like that really was shaky. They really had no evidence on that. They really had a lot of faulty information on it. So that's why they only gave him 5 years. But speeding up to Marcus Garvey coming over here, setting up his thing. And like I said, Marcus Garvey, especially after he met Noble Drew Ali, knew that we wasn't black, Negroes, and colors. And they knew that we would be a paper genocide out of our birthrights. But what strikes me funny is why you go hook up with the very guy who was instrumental in doing it, Walter Plecker. Why would he go, man, if anything, I would have been, as soon as I seen Walter Plecker, I would have been slapping the taste out of his mouth. If anything, if I had any sense, why would Marcus Garvey go work with Cox now? As far as now, they hold an agenda in the eugenics, Virginia eugenics. They whole agenda was they don't want to mix. Well, we already had that rule. We was already told don't mix our seed with the Canaanites. That ain't no new rule, right? So we ain't got no problem with that. Keep your seed. The biblical scripture tells us as the children of Israel, right? For the children of Israel, that we supposed to keep our seed pure, right? So that ain't nothing new as far as not mixing your seed. That's an old saying that been around for a while. But and speeding up to even Elijah Muhammad now working with the Ku Klux Klan because they had similar agendas of this separation, conquer and divide. And the only person that runs that conquer and divide, the only person that runs that strategy is the devil. I'm telling you, we don't run the conquer and we run add and multiply. That's our method. We're gonna add and multiply to get better. We're not gonna subtract and divide, right? And so to me, Marcus Garvey working with Walter Plecker is a red flag. Was Was Marcus Garvey out for his own selfish gain? Even after he knew that, even after he knew who we were and that we were being robbed of our land, did he not just overlook that and say, I don't care, I'm just trying to get some money? Because he sure was a guy that was out to get some money. So was he selling us out for money like all these other so-called Freemasons who know that this North Gate and that they protected the North Gate to keep us asleep? Was he in bed with the rest of the Freemasons who sold us out? And I'm not talking about all Freemasons. A lot of the Nubian Freemasons don't even have a clue to what's going on. If you talk to them, if they'll talk to you. And then the ones that's high up, they paid off, like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. They paid off to keep us in this stew. So I'm saying to myself, was Marcus Garvey in on it, or the Freemason game, on knowing who he was, but just to try to benefit off our backs? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I ain't like about Marcus Garvey, man. You go hook up with the most racist guy in the world at the time in 1924, Walter Plecker, the guy who wrote us out of history, pretty much, paper genocided us. His and then Walter Plecker whole philosophy spread it like AIDS throughout the United States. So I gotta say, and then they gave Marcus Garvey a pass, right? The Knights of Templar. They could have took him out. Why not X him out? And then another thing, Marcus Garvey spent time over there with the Black Hand. He got educated in London. He learned how to speak in London. He learned how to speak proper English in London. They sent him to school to speak. It sounded like a Martin Luther King job. Marcus Garvey sounded like a Martin Luther King job to me. It sounded like somebody trained Marcus Garvey to come over here with the intentions to keep us asleep. But then, after he came in contact with Noble Drew Ali or some other way, he figured out, oh, hold on, man, we being hustled. I'm leading my people into a burning building, just like Martin Luther King found out after they trained him up to keep as part of the game to keep us asleep. Martin Luther King was a sellout. Did he know it? Did he do it unknowingly or knowingly? But I got to take in consideration of how the universe works. Sometimes the universe put people in certain situations, even though that might not have been their intentions. And then this Big Mama put people in place to find out what's going on. So Martin Luther King knew what was going on, and he eventually came out and started talking about it, which eventually led him into getting unalived, right, by the government. And this ain't no allegedly, because his family already sued the U.S. government and got $360 million in wrongful death lawsuit from the government. So we ain't gotta get into that the government took out Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because his family, Malcolm X family, is now suing the government to get money from the murder. So what was Marcus Garvey's aim? Overall, looking at it, like I said, I think he might have had good intentions, but he could have been I think he could have been initially trained to come over here to keep us down in a way. Not financially, because financially everything was going good, but where was the money? Marcus Garvey controlled all the money. Man, and then what's real funny is W.D. Du Bois. W.D. Du Bois, back then, he was I could tell W.D. Du Bois was a funny dude, man, because Marcus Garvey tried to get back friends with him. And the newspaper took a comment from W.D. Du Bois, asked him why he won't get back with why he won't hook back up with Marcus Garvey. And the real reason is because the government told him not to, really, because he was working with the government. W.D. Du Bois was an informant for the government and several other celebrities. And they used W.D. Du Bois and several other celebrities to run a smear campaign against Marcus Garvey so that they could deter Nubians from joining his organization. The same thing happened to Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Same thing happened to Noble Drew Ali. The same thing happened to Dr. Malachi Z. York, right? All of these people fall under the same banner of the war at the North Gate for our birthrights back. Dr. Malachi Z. York, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, all of them fall into that list. But I'm saying though, what was Marcus Garvey's aim? Now I think overall, he wanted to pretty much just unify all Nubians. That's what I think his intentions was, to unify all Nubians around the world. But here's the thing. How you running a Back to Africa campaign and you never been to Africa? Marcus Garvey never been to Africa, but he gonna run a Back to Africa campaign. And look, when they tried to invite him to Africa, instead he sent some of his right-hand mans to go to Africa. He didn't even go himself. Now, I'm starting to scratch my head on this. Here's a man coming to over here promoting to dark-skinned Native Americans who are Washita, Shinnecock, Shoshone. They know this our land. The Knights of Templar, Shrine, they all know this our land. But then he promotes a Back to Africa campaign, but he never been to Africa. Yeah, he a Jamaican. Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica. They try to paint out that his father and them were slaves, but that's not true. They were prisoners of war due to the French and other people invading and taking over Jamaica. Marcus Garvey, them people was already there. We was already everywhere before. Man, look, we don't even see no pale face on this side as far as being any kind of leg up until after 1492. They couldn't even come over here after 1492. They got jacked by the pirates who were Moors from the Caribbeans anytime they tried to come over here without having a passport or a birth certificate for their ship. They got jacked, right? And one of the main guys that they were hunting down, one of the main Moors that was jacking them and that they were hunting down was a man named Jack Sparrow, who was a Moor. That was like black like my shirt. They even got pictures of Jack Sparrow in their archives, and they made a movie about him called Pirate of the Caribbean, where they made everybody white, just like they do in every other movie. Right? But they do secretly show you, if you watch close, they show you people in there in the Pirates of the Caribbean, dark-skinned people with fizzes on in the Pirates of the Caribbean. They know what's up. Right? But back to what I was saying, Marcus Garvey, they was inferior Marcus Garvey that he was building a military, a black militant group. And then he was building the Black Star Line. They feared that could turn into Marcus Garvey's own navy. Now, let me get into this. Another key point is the government didn't want Nubians to go back to Africa. They didn't want black people to go back to Africa. That's all. That's why I think Marcus Garvey was being manipulated in a way. The Black to Africa campaign, they didn't want us to go back to Africa. If we go back to Africa, they lose everything. Their whole game is based on us staying here calling ourselves black and not calling ourselves our original, what we original was. That's their whole game. If we would have left, they lose. So they couldn't let us leave. That was a psychological tactic used to make us think that we was slaves came on a ship. Slaves that came on a ship. Right? And so why, even after the fact, why did Marcus Garvey not change his philosophy after he met up with Noble Drew Ali? Now, speeding up, because I can talk about this a little bit. The master Farad Muhammad. What was his game? He was on similar to the Back to Africa campaign, even though he never mentioned it, but he kept on saying that we were originally from Africa. That's what now I'm saying to myself, a man that knew how much the planet weighed, 6 segatons, a man that knew how much the planet, how long it take the planet to rotate one time on its axis, how many miles an hour. He said 1,037 and 1/3 mile per hour. And then Doc said he was even an extraterrestrial, a Venerian. Now I'm saying to myself, this dude was all this high power guy. When he came over here, he should have knew we weren't from Africa. If he knew all that shit, he should have knew we weren't from Africa. So what was his aim? And why would he come bringing them a Turkish flag? That's not the flag the Nation of Islam got, and we love the Nation of Islam. Shout out to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But why would he come bringing you a Turkish flag, when that's not the original flag of Islam? Yeah, Marcus Garvey was a money guy. That's what I was trying to figure out. He was a guy that it wasn't a black power and black dump. In the way it was though, I ain't gonna lie. In the way it was, because his organization, you had to be black to join his organization. So was Marcus Garvey part of the said loud and black and them crowd who promoting this black this, black that? But like I said, overall, yeah, it was a money grab. I think it was a money grab on our people, man, in a way. And it was a money grab all the way up until he met Noble Drew Ali. And I think still, even after he met Noble Drew Ali, he said, man, I can't go with that because I'm going to lose money. The government, which the government came out there anyway, right? I think when he met up with Noble Drew Ali, he said, I can take some of that. Because he said, he told Noble Drew Ali, I know we ain't Negroes. Nigga, well, why are you still promoting it? But he said, because I'm still promoting it because I know it'll gain the most attention from our people. Now, Wallace D. Farad Muhammad. Hold on. Wallace D. Farad Muhammad, right? Now, I can see where I agree with most of what the W.D. Farad Muhammad said, right? I just disagree with a couple things, like the going back to Africa, we from Africa part. I disagree with it. And in fact, I just got a hold of some documents where they said that they said that they didn't say that we origin from Africa. They said that the Egyptians came from America. They said the Egyptians came from America. Then they went over to that land over there where the Giza Plateau is. And Tahuti backs that up in the Emerald Tablets, where he said that these reptilians, Dragon reptilians, attacked Atlantis, and then they got in their ship and left and went over to land over there, right? And we got a whole tape coming out on that called The Real True Story About Atlantis. That's probably gonna drop probably Friday, right? That's gonna be a good one. But what I'm saying is, I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Master Farad Muhammad had good intentions too, though. Even though they say, I'm saying to myself, man, he knew all that, but he ain't know that we was from here. You know what I'm saying? Right? But I think he had good intentions. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because maybe he saw that how the government was infiltrating Noble Drew Ali, and they really was after us for this, for trying to claim our birthrights. Maybe he came up with another strategy. Maybe we gonna just keep the birthright thing quiet, and we just gonna build a nation up till we get them so big to where they can't come after us, and then we'll drop it on them. And I think that's what their philosophy, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad alludes to that fact a little bit when he was schooling Malcolm X. He told Malcolm X that when it's time, I'm gonna give you a true Muslim name. I'm gonna give you a true Muslim name, right? And so Muhammad and all that must have not been a true Muslim name, because he said when the time comes, I'm gonna give you a true Muslim name. And then later on, Malcolm X changed his name to Malik Shabazz El, right? Then he gets a nationality. So I'm making trips around the country. Now that he got a nationality, other government officials and kings recognize him as being a civil human being. But as long as he had the title black, Negro, and color, they considered black, Negroes, and colors are considered not to be civil human beings in international courts, international eyes, public eye. So since that Malcolm X got the nationality, he ended up going and being able to. And then not only did he get the highest esteem after that, when he went to Saudi Arabia and these other spots, they rolled out the red carpet for him. They rolled out the red carpet for Malcolm X. And then when Malcolm X got to Africa, and they know what they told him, they say, man, I don't know what somebody been telling you, man, but y'all ain't from Africa. Y'all from over there. Hey, man, Plymouth Rock, they landed on Plymouth Rock, man. Y'all was already there, bro. I mean, Plymouth Rock, we let Malcolm X said, right, about the Plymouth Rock thing. But once they told Malcolm X that, he went back over here. That's when he changed his philosophy a little bit. But I'm thinking that Master Farad Muhammad, being that he was super intelligent, like they say, and spoke all these languages, maybe he said, man, we're not going to be able to go with the same strategy fully that Noble Drew Ali went with, because these people, they after us for that. So move up just a little. Okay. Somebody over here is trying to get out. Okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking that maybe he changed his philosophy around to protect them from the government. And so he said, what we're going to do is we're going to build up the nation, get certain amount, because Elijah Muhammad was saying, man, he was telling Malcolm X wanted to go and get militant, build up a military, go and take back America, right? But Elijah Muhammad said, man, be cool, man. We can't do it like that. You're going to excite the devil, and they going to come after us, right? So what we got to do, we got to be cool and get the numbers up, right? So I'm thinking that was the philosophy strategy that Master Farad gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And eventually then he was going to turn and say that, oh yeah, well, no, we L's or this or that, right? We Bays or that, and start teaching them more science. But the Nation of Islam is a combination of Marcus Garvey's teachings and Noble Drew Ali teachings, minus the stuff that will probably get the government after them, right? And pretty much the government still came after the Nation of Islam and still heavily infiltrated them, right? Because they are afraid of any black organization that's getting big. And the Nation of Islam at this point is one of the biggest so-called black organizations probably in the United States, hands down. I'm telling you, man. And we know we ain't gonna say too much on it, but we will say this: the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the spook that's set by the door. Now you put that together. The spook that's set by the door. Now go watch a movie called Spook That's Set by the Door, and then you put it together. And that's all we're gonna say on that. Because Elijah Muhammad came to him I was gonna put a whole tape out on it, and Elijah Muhammad came to me in a dream and said, don't put that tape out until after. I ain't gonna tell you what the after is. He said after. He said after. So there'll come a time where I can put that tape out, talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who we love. We love Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because his job was, he did his job. You know what Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's job was? To keep the nation intact. That's your only job. We don't. So he lectured all of them. He did a lot of lectures, and some people say he wasn't a teacher, he was a lecturer. But his job just was to keep the nation intact. That's it. And did he do that? Yes. The nation is still intact. Right? So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did his job. Right? But I got to say, and I got to say this, and in a way, they like their own separate world. They in their own separate world outside from the world of all these other so-called people who still want to call themselves a crayon. Right? Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you're just not coming in, man, we coming to you about Marcus Garvey hooking up with Walter Plecker, man. I'm still scratching my head on that. See, look, they technically didn't even consider Marcus Garvey technically wasn't considered as a black guy. Marcus Garvey had his nationality. That's what they don't want to tell you, man. Marcus Garvey had his nationality, but he didn't want us to get ours. What kind of mess is that? Yeah, Marcus Garvey had nationality. He got schooled in London. He got taught how to speak, like Martin Luther King. Somebody in London, where they signed the friendship treaty, the peace and friendship treaty, somebody over there, and look, the Knights of Templar control. That's why I think, man, I'm starting to think that he had good intentions, but maybe he was a sellout, Marcus Garvey, because London is where the 1 by 1 square mile at the banks that control the whole world, and the people that control that are the Knights of Templar. And so Marcus Garvey was a Knights of Templar, and he was in London, and he got trained to speak. And then he comes over here all of a sudden promoting this black, Negro, and color thing. So whose side was he on? Whose side was Marcus Garvey on, man? And like I say, overall, I look real. I do this. I investigate these people like I'm investigating a homicide, right? I looked through Marcus Garvey like I'm investigating him as one of my suspects for a homicide, right? Because I always wanted to be a homicide detective, right? So that's why when somebody say go do me a tape on this guy, I fine tooth it and look to what was his motive. What was Marcus Garvey's motive? And the only motive I could come up to at the end of this was he was out to get some money. It was by him being wealthy. By him being wealthy, because he kind of came from a wealthy background. His dad was a guy that made a lot of money, but his dad was a gambler too. His dad was a gambler and lost a lot of his money. But based on my, because when the homicide detectives when they trying to solve a crime, the one thing that they want is a motive. That they want a motive. So what was Marcus Garvey's motive? What was his motive for hooking up with Walter Plecker and Cox and the Ku Klux Klan? I don't see no motive from that. Even if you did have the same philosophies, being that these are the same people that hang Negroes, why would you even be on the same stage with them? Man, ain't no way you can see me even 100 feet from the Klan unless I gotta walk by them. Hey, what I look like standing on the stage with the Klan? I don't give a damn if I agree with some of their philosophy. Ain't no way I'm gonna be a Nubian man standing on a stage with people who hang Nubians. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way, man. So we gotta wonder. Marcus Garvey could have been selling us out in a way. Unknowingly or knowingly. Just like Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King ended up coming up at the end and say, oh man, I'm leading my people into a burning building. So was Marcus Garvey leading us into a burning building, or was he trying to build a nation to where we could turn against the government eventually? Those are questions left unanswered. To make a long story short, Marcus Garvey blamed the Klan for setting him up with the mail fraud. He blamed the Klan and the Jews, so-called Jews, for setting him up for the mail fraud. President Kluivich, I think I'm saying his name, Calvin Kluivich. I don't think I'm saying his last name right, but his first name is Calvin. He's a Knights of Templar and York Rites Freemason. So he pardons Marcus Garvey, and they expedite him back to Jamaica and told him he can never return to the United States again. Right? And so it's like that, man. So people praise Marcus Garvey and what he did and some of the things that he was doing. And I can see where, like I say, Marcus Garvey, some of his philosophy bled into the Nation of Islam. And that's probably what connected Malcolm X to the Nation of Islam, being that his dad, right? I think his dad's name was, I know his last name was Little, right? His dad was a Marcus Garveyite, a guy that followed Marcus Garvey philosophy, Malcolm X's dad. So I can see that the Nation of Islam has some of the influence for the Nation of Islam come from Marcus Garvey. So I can see why Malcolm X was drawn to the nation. Man, this guy, I'm telling you, man, I got a tape. I already got the tape done on Master Farad Muhammad. It's already loaded up. I actually can release it right now. I got a tape on Master Farad Muhammad already, and the tape on the Nation of Islam already. I just got to load the tape for the Nation of Islam up, but I got the tape for Master Farad Muhammad already done. But while Master Farad Muhammad, I think both of these guys overall, and I'm gonna do a whole tape on Master Farad Muhammad next. But I think both of these guys, based on my investigation, might have had good intentions. Now, I believe Marcus Garvey could have been hired and been a plant in a way, but then after he got planted, he was a plant to eventually double agent. Meaning he went in there, they taught him and trained him and sent him over here to do what he was gonna do, but then he turned on them, which led to COINTELPRO's wanting to take him down. Because anybody that's working with them, COINTELPRO ain't gonna take him down. That's the only thing that saved Marcus Garvey. That's the only thing that saved my investigation on Marcus Garvey, is that the COINTELPRO was at this man heavily. The military intelligence was out to shut down Marcus Garvey. So that's what make me think that, okay, either he turned some kind of way, or either he had all his intentions was good the whole time. He just was learning as he go, and just changing, fixing the format. Right? That was my philosophy. But the military intelligence was looking out to shut this man down. So now on my list of most dangerous dangerous people to ever come to the United States, Marcus Garvey might go in the top 3, right? Dr. Malachi Z. York is number 1 on my list. The most dangerous man to ever come to America. Then number 2 is Malcolm X. Well, at least the government thought that he was the most dangerous, Malcolm X, because Malcolm X got as far as to go file charges against United States courts in the international courts. But before he could do it, he met his untimely death. Yeah, Marcus Garvey influenced Master Farad. Okay. Oh man, I'm on a live. I'm gonna go back. What happened? I don't know. Man, I'm on a live. I forgot to get out my route, man. I gotta go back in this dang online. Okay. Yeah, so man, like I said, if y'all want to help us out, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We're finna get him. Hey, so man, that's just my perspective on it. A lot of people like Marcus Garvey. I still like Marcus Garvey, and like I said, overall, I believe his intentions was to get money though, get money and build his own nation, pretty much. And like I say, you just not coming in. Marcus Garvey was Guerrilla Clan, man.
We get in on this side?
Yep.
I can walk him around.
I know you can get in right here. Yeah. I'm about to go back around this way. Yeah, y'all. So, man, we just wanted to talk to you about that. Hey, Hakeem, Haru, this will be cool real quick before I get off. Yeah, so we just wanted to bring that to you, man, and give you our perspective on it. If you want a whole storyline on Marcus Garvey, right after this tape go off, it's going to direct you right to the tape I just put out on the whole storyline of Marcus Garvey, right? So you want to go check that storyline out, right? Other than that, man, like I say, if you want to get those books by the Young Elder, just send the $45 donation, leave your emails and the links, and we'll send it right over to you. All 8 books in PDF form. Other than that, man, we'll be back probably tonight. Wadu.